Welcome to Math with Mr. P. Today we are dealing with percent proportion. This is 7th grade math, chapter 2, lesson 3. Basically what we're going to do today is we are going to find out a missing piece of a percent proportion. What that means is, like, if we're saying what is 8% of 70 or something like that, or this number is how much percent of this number kind of thing, we're going to learn that and how to work backwards. This is going to touch on a lot of algebra, so it's very important that we pay close attention, we take good notes, and we learn and ask questions if we don't understand. So here is an example. The tires of a monster truck weigh approximately 2 tons. The entire truck weighs about 6 tons. Write the ratio of the tire weight to the total weight as a fraction. So the tires weigh 2 tons. The whole truck weighs 6 tons. So 2/6. Represent the fraction above by shading in the model. It would be 2 out of 6. These are 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would be 2/6, or if I were to group these all by 2's, it would be 1/3 of the truck weight is being made by the tires. Write the fraction as a decimal to the nearest hundredth. 1/3 or 2/6. This would be 3.3 or 33.3%. Write the decimals. Write the fraction as a decimal. 0.33. Yeah. Right about what percent of the monster truck's tires is 33%. 33% of the tires of the truck's weight is made up of the tires, 1/3. So use the percent proportion. Find the percent. So this should be in your notes. This definitely needs to be in your notes. Find the percent. What percent of 5 is 4? So 4/5 would equal n. N's for our number that we don't know. We're going to use n for our missing number over 100. So 4/5 should equal the percentage over 100. We don't know the percentage. We don't know what the number is over 100. So what I would do is this. So I'm going to go ahead and get my whiteboard out. What percent of 5 is 4? I would write my question, but I'm not going to write my question on this one. What percent of 5 is 4? So 4/5 will equal n over 100. We're going to multiply straight across. So 5 times n will equal 400, because 4 times 100 is 400. Now, in order to find this number, I need to get the variable by itself. I will divide by 5 here to undo this. Divide by 5 here. N will equal whatever 400 divided by 5 is. We have our calculator, or you can do big brain math and know 40 divided by 5 would be 8, and x is 0. So 400 divided by 5 is 80. Again, we could have done 40 divided by 5 is 8, and x is 0. So, therefore, 4 of 5 is 80%. 4 is 80% of 5. And that's how we would solve that. Find the part. What number is 80% of 5? So we're using the exact same numbers again. I have my drawing on, so let me go ahead and do this. What number is 80% of 5? So we'd write it as P for percent, because we don't know what that number is, over 5 equals 80%, or 80 over 100. Again, we're going to cross multiply. 5 times 8, I know, is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, plus a 0. That'll be 400. 400 will equal P times 100, or 100P. I need to undo what's happening to my variable, divide it by 100, divide both sides by 100. P will now equal 400 divided by 100, or just 4. So my missing number here, 80% of 5, is 4. And then find the whole. 4 is 80% of what number? All right, go ahead and do this. So we have 4, because they said 4 is 80% of what number? 4 is 80% of what number? 4 over the whole, so we use W for whole, will equal 80 over 100. Because we know it's 80%, hence the 80 over 100. And we know 4 is 80% of something, so that goes on top. We just don't know what that something is. We're going to multiply across again. 4 times 100 is 400. Will equal 80 times W. That equal sign looks terrible. Let's pull this up a little bit so we have some room to work down here. I need to divide my variable by whatever's happening to it. I need to undo it. That way I'll divide this side by 80 as well. W will equal 400 divided by 80. We have 2 calculators open. Let's clear our calculator. 400 divided by 80 will give me 5. Therefore, W will equal 5. So 4 is 80% of 5. I would highly suggest having these in your notebook, especially if you can't memorize these. I'm not even going to lie, I probably don't have these all memorized and probably won't. I'll be referring back to these during this lesson. So please make sure that you put this whole chart into your notes. Again, when you're trying to find the percent of a number, what percent of 5 is 4, you would put N for the number percentage that we don't know. Find the part, we would put P for the part. The part of 5, what part of 5 is 80%? And then for the whole number, we would put W on the denominator, because we know 4 is 80% of what number, we just don't know what that number is. So the only one that doesn't make sense is percent. When we find the percent, we use N. When we find the part, we use P. When we find the whole, we use W. So just remember, when we find the percent, use N for the number percentage. In a percent proportion, one ratio or fraction compares part of a quantity to the whole quantity. The other ratio is the equivalent percent, written as a fraction or with a denominator of 100. In other words, this is our part in our whole. This is our percent, as labeled here. You may want to put this in your notes as well. So when we need to find our missing part, this is how we're going to write it. If they tell us it's this much percent of this, we know it's going to be whatever percentage over 100. We have that side written out. If we have, well, this number is somewhat percent of this number, then we know we have our part in our whole, because they gave us our 2 numbers. We just don't know what our percent is over 100. So again, the missing parts that are going to be here are going to be either the part, the whole, or the percent. 100 will always be in this equation. Example, what is $15? Sorry, what percent of $15 is $9? So let's see if I remember this correctly without even having to refer to the chart. What percent of $15 is $9? So my first part will be 9 over 15 will equal, and since I don't know my percent, N over 100. And I'll refer back to it really quickly. N over 100. Find the percent. So therefore, I'm going to multiply across. 9 times 100 will give me 900. 15 times N will give me 15N. Divide this by 15 to undo. Divide this by 15. That will bust out my calculator because I don't know what 900 divided by 15 is right off the bat. That'll equal 60. Therefore, it'll be 60%. 9 is 60% of 15, and that's what I would write as my answer. I would write down not the words 9 is 60% of 15. And let's check to see if that is correct. 9 is 60% of 15. What percent of 25 is 20? What percent? So So we're looking for percent of 25 is 20. So we have 20 over 25 will equal a percent, which we don't know, over 100. 20, so it'll be 25n equals 20 times 100, which will be 2,000. Let's divide both sides by 25. N will equal whatever 2,000 divided by 25 is. And that will be 80. And since it's percentage that was missing, we're going to write that 20 is 80% of 25. 20 is 80% of 25. What percent of 25 is 20? 20 is 80% of 25. And you can always double check your work. We clear it. 25 times 0.8 should be 20, and it is. Therefore, we did get this question right. What? $12.75 is what percent of 50? So $12.75. This is going to get a little tricky, so bear with me. We have $12.75 over $50. We're trying to figure out what the percent is of that. We're going to multiply straight across, so 50n will equal, multiply this. Now I'm going to use my calculator because I don't feel very confident multiplying this in my head. If I were to guess, a decimal would move over, so it'd be 1,275. I was right, but I just wanted to make sure. 1,275. So remember, when you multiply by 100 and you have a decimal, it would just go over the place value of how many zeros there are. This would jump twice to make it 1,275. I'm going to divide both by 50 to get that n by itself. I know it looks like an h, that's an n. And since I already have that number plugged into my calculator, I'm just going to divide it by 50. So I will have 25.5%, and I know I wrote a 2. 25.5%, because it's asking you what percentage of $50 is it. Therefore, you would write $12.75 is 25.5% of 50. And let's see if we're right. Clear it. 50 times 25.5% would be 0.255. 0.255, and it should equal $12.75, and it does. Therefore, we are correct. What number is 40% of 120? So let's see if I remember this correctly. We don't know the number. We don't know the part. So what number is 40% of 120? So we have 120 as our base. We don't know our part. But we know that it is 40% of that number. Now let's see if they set up the same way. P over 120 equals 40 over 100. You multiply straight across. This will become 100p equals 120 times 40. Which will be 480. Oh, nope. Clear. Times 40. 120 times 40. Made that mistake. 4,800. And I'm going to divide both sides by 100, which will just cross these out. So P will equal 48. Now I can plug that in my calculator and make sure this divided by 100 should equal 48. It does. So, therefore, going back to answer my question, what number is 40% of 120? 40% of 120 is 48. And it is. All right, let's do these questions, and then we'll get to the third part, and we'll call this one a video. 18 is 25% of what number? So remember, 18 is 25% of what number? We don't have the whole. We don't have the whole. Oh, I skipped these. Sorry, I skipped these. Let's do this one. What number is 5% of 60? So we're going to have 5%. We don't know our number. 60. 5 times 6 is 30, but we're annexing a 0, so 300 will equal 100p. Since we're multiplying those, divide by 100, divide by 100. This will be 3. P equals 3. Therefore, 3 is 5% of 60. And then again, double check our answer. 5% would be written as 0.05. 0.05. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. 5%. Remember, it goes 1, 2. I was right. So 0.05 times 60 should equal 3. And it does. Therefore, we have the correct answer. Our next question is asking 12% of 85 is what number? 12% of 85 is what number? Therefore, 85 is our whole. We don't know our part. And we know that it is 12%. This will be 100p equals 85 times 12. I'm going to pop that into my calculator. 85 times 12. That'll be 1,020. Divide both sides by 100. Since I have that number in there, I'm going to divide it by 100. That'll give me 10.2. Therefore, 10.2 is 12% of 85. And that would be my answer. I would write that out as my answer. All right, and then off to our last part where we're going to find the whole. 18 is 25% of what number? So again, I have 25%. And 18 is my part. My whole is missing. Therefore, I will multiply across to figure this out. This will become 1800 equals 25 times W. W times 25, 18 times 100 is 1800 equals 25W. Divide both sides by 25 to get W by itself. 18, oh, clear. 1800, because remember, if you don't clear, sometimes it can mess up your answer. And it'll be 72. So 18 is 25% of 72. And if we look at everything they set up the correct way we did. 1,800 equals 25W. When they divide both sides by 25, W equals 72. So 18 is 25% of 72. And we got the correct answer. All right, we're going to do these examples, and then I'll let you off to go do the Steiner notes. 40% of what number is 26? So I've got 40% of what number, so we don't know the number, is 26. So 26 is my top number. We're going to multiply across. 40W will equal 2600. Divide both sides by 40. Handy dandy calculator, reset. 2600 divided by 40 will give me 65. Therefore, 26 is 40% of 65. And that's how I would write that answer. And our last example. 84 is 75% of what number? So we got 75%. We have 84. I'm going to double check my question, yes, 84 75% of what number? W is there. This will become 8400. This will become 75 times W. Divide both sides by 75. W will be whatever 8400 divided by 75 is, which is 112. Therefore, 84 is 75% of 112. And that's it. That is it for lesson 3. I'm Mr. P as always. You guys can comment, ask questions in class, message me on Teams if you're not understanding. Make sure that you guys look at the Steiner notes before we forget. I'll kind of go over these with you. So remember, we need to have the definition of percent proportion. The types of proportion, remember when we're missing the percentage, we're missing the part, or we are missing the whole. Those are the 3 types. And then how to write them out. Again, I would highly suggest, if you're not fully understanding, write out this chart in your notes so you remember. And as always, I'm Mr. P, and I will catch you guys on the next one.